Hey, you guys, I am so elated to have a special plant based vegan, I'm calling him vegan, coach, Robert, on our YouTube channel here. Thank you so much for joining me. And please forgive me for my miss up with the time. I
That's
apologize for that. I don't know.
that's quite all right. I appreciate you for opening the space and allowing me to be here. Appreciate you.
Yes, thank you so much. Um, wow, coach. But we're gonna get into that a little bit later, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no worries.
So I wanted to know, like, when you was growing up, like, what did your eating look like?
Okay, so I am from St. Louis, Missouri, y'all. So I grew up eating your traditional standard American Southern Midwest style diet. So you talking about and and with that, I was raised by a single mom, so money had to stretch sometimes. So grew up eating traditional foods that you would have, um, barbecue, tripe, like everything. Like think of what you think of your traditional black Sunday dinner. Think of your traditional holiday barbecue, all of that. That's what I ate. Bologna, spam, like the whole gambit, the little water, the prepackaged noodle stuff.
Mhm.
So I grew up eating like everybody else. I'm a regular average person. I didn't grow up eating like this. However, I started my journey pretty early though, and oh wow, in '99 is when made the switch and became more conscious of what I started eating, and that's when I made the switch to vegetarian. So I was still eating a lot of processed and junk foods because that's what I grew up on. I still have a sweet tooth to this day. However, at younger, it was a lot of the quick processed foods, the TV dinners, the quick and easy stuff, fast food every other day, every few days, because it was what was convenient.
Mhm. Wow, when you was talking about, your eating when you were growing up, I thought about a syrup sandwich and the
Man,
sugar.
don't nobody know about they don't know about them struggle meals. Talking about no eating no syrup sandwiches. They don't know about that.
Okay. Yes, I'm like,
A
wow.
honey having just a honey sandwich. Yeah.
Yes, okay. Yes, yes, I've been down that road too. So wow. So why did you become plant-based vegan? I don't know what title you want to use.
Yeah, so I'll start my journey way back when, like how I've told you before. So in
Mhm.
'99 is when I graduated high school, and I was becoming more conscious and more aware of myself and moving into the black consciousness space. And so I read a book from Niggas to Gods, and it talked about the food that you ate and how it affected you, especially pork, because it was written by a Neo, which was he was a part of the Black Muslim movement. And so, they removed pork and a lot of those things. And so it led me down the path of finding more about nutrition. At that same time, I went on a vow to change my body, how I looked. When I graduated high school, I was still 120 pounds at the most.
Mhm.
I fluctuated between 115 and 120 when I graduated high school. I'm 5'9". I was the same height then. So at the same time, I went on a journey to build my body and be bigger than what I was. So at the same time of really coming into consciousness of self and being more aware of what I'm eating, I started to study nutrition and fitness at the same time so that I could build my body up. And so that was way back when. And so I started it one because I wanted to be a healthier version of myself. At the time, 18 years old, I'm looking around at my parents, my family. They were overweight, people had health issues and things like that. Now, fast forward to 2013, and I had bounced back and forth between vegetarian and pescatarian for all of those years. Really, and at that time, I had put on 30 pounds. I was 155 pounds. When I was between 25 and 35, I was 150 pounds. And
Mhm.
so I went from 120 to 150. So I learned how to eat and build up. But I still had a lot of irritable bowel syndrome, a lot of bloating, restless sleep, still had some issues, some alopecia occasionally, just different things that was going on. Well, in 2013, my world was rocked. And I lost my mom to her second bout of cancer. And so that really shook me a lot. and it made me start to think deeper about the things that I was doing. Well, in 2014, my first son was born. And so me and my ex-wife, because we both were predisposed to health issues, my mom had heart attacks in her 40s. I was 32 when my son was born. My mom had diabetes. My mom had high blood pressure. My dad had gout, high blood pressure, diabetes, all of these different things. So I knew I was predisposed to them. She had health issues on her side. So I was already looking to make the change after my mom passed, but me being the individual I am, I'm resistant to change. And so after our son was born, we looked at each other and said, we got to do something different, because we didn't want to put our children through what we went through as children, as well as I needed to be there to see my grandchildren and hopefully my great grandchildren, because my mom didn't get to meet my sons, and that was really impactful for me. So we made the switch at that point, going cold veggie. We went completely plant based. It was easier for me at the time because she was a stay at home mom, so she did all the cooking. All I had to do was bring the groceries home. So the transition was easier for me. I resisted in the beginning because I didn't want to give up my fried red snapper, but she was like, "Hey, I'm only cooking one meal. So you can cook your own meals or you can eat what I'm cooking." Yes, ma'am. So we'll be eating that. And so that's kind of how I got on the journey. Fast forward a few years, living the life, I helped a coworker transition to plant based and lose a lot of weight in the process. And that's when the light bulb for me went off, and I made the transition to start helping other people as well.
Wow. Uh, Apologize about your mom. Um,
Good things.
yes. Wow, that's an amazing story. Sometimes it take us, a sad situation to help us, to see things differently. Um, my mom, she, passed away from cancer. Not passed away, but transitioned to, from cancer and stuff like that. So I understand, and have my condolences. I apologize for that.
My
Um,
condolences to you as well. And
thank
so
you.
for me, it was really making that transition, because I made the transition to be the best version of myself so I could be here for my children and
Yes.
be the best version for them, because my dad was in my life, but he wasn't active because he was overweight and overworked.
Mm-hmm.
So I can remember, I can count on one hand how many times I played catch with my dad, and I played baseball from t-ball all the way up through high school.
Mm-hmm.
So I vowed to not be that type of person. And when I started helping my coworker, it was for the same reason. He had a new daughter, and she was
Mm-hmm.
a few months old, and he was too big to get in the floor to play with her. And
Wow.
so he wanted to make changes so that he could be the best version for her. So that's what I do for people, is help them prevent the illnesses that take them away from their family too early.
Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for your work. Thank you. Whew. Wow. Who inspires you to do what you do? Like, do you inspire yourself? Or
So
do
I no, so I take inspiration from a lot of different places. The thing that actually keeps me going, because being an entrepreneur is not easy, are my boys, because I have to be an example for them. However, in the space, I've learned a lot from a lot of the different people in the space because of the information that they share. So Dr. Greger, Dr. Mills, um, reading different books from like Dr. Layla Africa. And so just taking all of these different inputs and bringing it in. And so my inspiration is really just um, being able to see the impact that other people are having. That's what really keeps me moving forward, is when somebody says, "Hey, I did this because of something that you said." And that's what brings me to continue to keep moving.
that's good. So I just thought about, you said you wanted to gain weight. Could you give us a couple? Because I want people to go and get your help. You know what I'm saying? But a couple of things that you ate to gain weight. During that time.
So at that time, I wouldn't recommend the stuff that I was eating to gain weight, because now I have a different knowledge of what I had then. Because at the time, I was still pescatarian, so I was eating chicken, I was eating whey products, I was that pseudo, I guess they call it, ovo they got these crazy words. I was still eating cheese and dairy and all that other stuff at the time. So there's a lot of things that I wouldn't recommend you do that I was doing then. I was overeating, um, excessive amount of workouts. However, now I'm in the process of rebuilding and I've put on about 5 pounds. And so in order to gain weight on a plant-based lifestyle, you need a few different things. Avocados are going to be paramount, sprouts, making sure that you're getting a wide variety and eating enough food. So quinoas, your beans, your lentils, and on top of that, training is super important. How you train, if you're trying to gain weight, and especially if you want it to be muscle, training is going to be imperative, and you have to use a progressive style of strength training. And progressive style of strength training means that each workout, either you're doing more reps or you're doing more weight or more resistance, depending on which style of resistance training you choose. I know
Okay.
that was a lot and kind of fast. So if I need to go back and break that down, let me know.
Yeah, you can break that down, and I was going. Go ahead. It was something, but go ahead. You can break it down.
So when you're trying to gain weight, there's a few things that you really want to focus on, and a lot of people focus real heavily on the macros. Macros meaning your um, carbohydrates, fats, and protein. And people give a lot of almost too much emphasis on the word protein because you don't need protein as a human. You need amino acids because our bodies need protein, but it makes most of it, if that
Mhm.
makes sense. So proteins are nothing but a chain of amino acids that are put together to make a complete protein. And so our bodies need different type of protein depending on what it's making. For instance, a different protein is needed to make an eye muscle or an eye cell than the different for a bicep muscle. See what I mean? Or a
Mhm.
skin cell. So there are 21 amino acids. Only 9 of them are essential. The reason why 9 of them are essential is because those are the ones that the body cannot create. The other 11, the body creates on its own. And it creates it by having the right nutrients in your body. So by focusing on eating whole food, plant based, a variety, you're going to get the amino acid profiles that you need. So that's eating your quinoa, your spinach, your almonds, chia seed, hemp seed, flax seed, adding in your lentils, your beans, like your chickpeas, and then on top of that, adding in things like sprouts because now you're getting super high packed micronutrients as well as those macronutrients. Adding in your healthy fats coming from your avocados, your almonds, your cashews, your walnuts, Brazil nuts, things like this. Now you're going to inundate and flood your body with all the nutrients it needs. And then you pair that with proper strength training. Strength training, you start off with progressive, meaning you start off with enough reps to make your body reach its limit. And the next time you add either a little bit more reps or a little bit more weight. And it doesn't have to be heavy, but progressive overload, meaning that over time you're increasing the intensity of your workouts in one form or another, because this creates what's called muscle atrophy, and that's what creates muscle growth. And that's how you gain weight, eating plant based.
Wow, thank you. That's I know that's gonna help a lot of people, and plus my husband because he's plant based as well. Wow, that was one of his things is losing weight. But yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
so I mean, so for a lot of people, they tend to lose weight when they go plant based because they are not eating in the correct proportions, or they're trying to mimic the diet that they had before they went plant based. And
Mm-hmm.
when you try to mimic the diet that you had before you went plant based, you tend to rely heavily on a lot of the processed foods. And those processed foods, although they don't have any animal in them, they're not always high nutrient,
Right.
if that makes sense. And
Yeah.
so you end up kind of under eating and you're still lacking the nutrients. So you start to feel tired. It's the same thing as if you were eating the stuff that you were eating before, but your body was used to it.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's good. Thank you. Wow, full of wisdom here, y'all. Y'all got to go check Coach out, Coach Robert. Oh my gosh. Wow. I might have to check you out myself.
Hey,
But
that's what I'm here for.
yes, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. So, what is one of the biggest or some of the biggest misconceptions, especially being a coach, dealing with bodybuilding or weight loss? What are some of the misconceptions that you have experienced or heard of when it comes to the way you're eating?
Ooh, misconceptions. Where do I begin? So let's start with some of the trends. I'm gonna make some people mad today if you're okay with that.
Oh, I'm good.
So one of the trends out there today is called keto, where you cut out the carbohydrates. So one of the misconceptions that people have are that carbohydrates are bad.
Hmm.
That is a misconception, and it's a, an unfull truth, if that makes sense. And what do I mean by an unfull truth? So there are certain carbohydrates that you want to avoid. The carbohydrates that you want to avoid are the heavily processed ones. However, most people will lump carbohydrates into one big word, carbohydrates. However, you have complex carbohydrates, simple carbohydrates. Within complex carbohydrates, we're talking about things like the nuts, the seeds, the legumes, anything with fiber. So
Hmm.
potatoes, your leafy vegetables, any fruit or vegetable. That's well, not fruit or vegetable. I'm sorry. Let me step back. Anything that's high fiber. So your oats, your nuts, your seeds, your grains. These are going to be complex carbohydrates.
Okay.
Then you have simple carbohydrates. These are your fruits, your vegetables. So you see how saying something is a carbohydrate is bad for you doesn't make sense.
Right.
Now, inside that simple carbohydrates, you also have processed carbohydrates because you can process all the grains that I just talked about. Once
Mhm.
you process those grains, now they become a simple carbohydrate, and that's a problem because once you process the carbohydrate, you remove the grain, the bran, and the fiber that makes it nutritious for you.
Mhm.
And so what's left are the sugars. And so the body sees it as just that, as sugar, and it processes it as pure glucose because there are no other nutrients, phytonutrients, and the other micro or macronutrients to help support it and slow down the absorption of the sugar.
Wow.
So that's one misconception is carbohydrates are bad for you.
Mhm.
Number two is calorie cutting. Everybody thinks that if you just stop eating and just eat just very little bit, that you're going to lose weight. You need to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight, but that calorie deficit needs to be very small. Because when you create too big of a deficit, you actually create a starvation mode for your body where it slows your metabolism down. And now you're burning less calories than you want to be. And you start to store more. So another misconception is not eating at all is a way to lose weight. So that's where I get into another touchy subject. We're going to talk about keto and intermittent fasting.
Yes. Okay.
So intermittent fasting can be a helpful tool when used correctly. However, most people are not able to maintain or sustain intermittent fasting long term because it's hard. And if you are not eating enough calories in your window of eating, you're still doing your body a disservice because you're not giving your body the calories it needs to boost your metabolism.
Mhm.
So, and when you think about it, I want everybody to think about this really quickly. If you stop eating at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night,
Mhm.
and you don't eat breakfast until 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock the next day, that's a 12-hour window. That's
Mhm.
intermittent fasting.
Yes.
Like, so it, what I want people to move away from are these gimmick terms, these fad diets, and find a way to make living a part of your healthy a part of your everyday lifestyle. So that means focusing on eating foods that are high in nutrients, high in fiber, low in calories. The earlier in the day, you want to start your stuff off with fresh fruits and vegetables to help your digestive system.
Yeah.
Moving into the day, you can start to add more cooked foods, foods that are a little bit heavier, that are going to help sustain and maintain that energy a little bit longer throughout the day.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of things. And so another misconception, the standard American diet, standard American breakfast is healthy. No, most people it's flooded with fat, it's flooded with sugar.
Mhm.
It's flooded with meat and dairy, all the things that are going to create mucus inflammation and overwork your digestive system there early in the day, because first thing in the day your body's still finishing up eliminating everything from the day before.
Yes. Wow.
So that's a couple of misconceptions. Oh, the last one. You need doing cardios will help you lose weight. Doing just all straight cardio.
Okay.
Cardio itself is a tool to help with in conjunction with your strength training, but cardio is not meant for weight loss. Cardio is meant for just what it is. Cardio is short for cardiovascular. So we're talking about your cardiovascular system, your lungs, your heart, your respiratory system, your circulatory system. That's what cardio is good for. Now, you can use cardio in conjunction with strength training to
Mhm.
help boost your weight loss goals, but cardio itself will not get you there.
Wow. That's good. Thank you. Thanks for sharing these. Oh my God, amazing tips
Absolutely.
and the misconceptions. And thank you for handling and doing that for us. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Whew. So, do you have a story that you can share with us, like one of your clients that really sticks out to you? Like, wow, that this really happened for them. Have you? Do you have a story you can share with us?
I have a couple of different stories. Like, so one of my favorite stories is a client of mine who was able to drop her A1C 3 to 4 points in 90 days.
Wow. Oh,
Oh, yep. Oh, I'll be right back. Give me a second.
okay, okay.
There we go. Camera get a 30-minute time limit before it tries to cut out on me. I got to get a new streaming camera, but that's a conversation for another day. So
Okay.
yeah, so by following the meal plan, the workout plan, she was able to drop her A1C from I want to say it was like an 8.1 down to a five, like 5.7. So she went from diabetes to no longer registering and was able to come down off of her medication. So that's one of my favorite stories. Another of my favorite stories is a client who was able to lose 25 pounds even though she didn't have a full kitchen. She had moved from state to state to take a new job. The
Mhm.
job was as an adjunct professor. Well, they provided her housing, but the way the housing was set up, they ended up messed up some stuff and put her in student housing, so she didn't have a full kitchen.
Mhm.
However, she was able to overcome all the obstacles, all the things that were in her way, and make the plan her own. Because what I teach is a framework. You can follow the guide to the letter if you want to, but I'm basically teaching you a framework on how to build health into your schedule. And by following that, she was able to lose 25 pounds. Now, it took her being in the program twice to reach the goal, because the first time she resisted the change. She didn't really want, she was still like, okay, I'm listening, but I'm doing my own thing.
Mhm.
And she saw that if she wasn't getting the results and she got frustrated. So she took the program again and she submitted to it the second time. And
Mhm.
that's when she really started to see all the results. And she did one of the things that was great for me was she didn't like kale, eating kale. So what she did, she cooked it. She didn't like raw kale. So she started to put it into her cooked meals, and then it was perfectly fine for her to eat. And she's like, can I cook it? I said, sure, please do it. Like, if as long as you're eating it. So
Mhm.
those are two success stories. People that took the program and made it their own and
Mhm.
were able to continue the lifestyle.
Okay, great. Do you have virtue? The workout program. Do you do it virtue and the meal plans? Do you also
So
have that?
yeah, so all of my coaching is done virtually. I
Okay.
only have a couple of people that I've worked with in person, because I don't want distance to be a reason why someone isn't able to get help.
Okay. Great. Okay. We I have your information down below, and yeah. So everybody, you can find him there. So this is good. I don't want to. I'm enjoying this. um, could you give us an example of what you typically eat in a day? Like, what do Coach Robert eat? a typical meal, your
And
day
I,
of eating?
I am a simple dude. My day is almost the same most days. So I'll start my day off with some key lime water. Then
Hmm.
I'll have my smoothie. After my smoothie, I'll typically have my little snack packs, which are dried nuts and oh, well, I guess all nuts are dry fruit and nuts. And
Uh-huh.
then after that, either with that, I'll have some fruit, depending on how active I am in the morning or what I got going on. Then for my next meal, it'll probably be either some oatmeal or avocado toast and peanut butter and jelly or almond butter and jelly sandwiches. Moving into later of the day, I'll do a little bit more snacking on some fruit and then have dinner, which would consist of, like last night, that it was quinoa with roasted chickpeas and vegetables. Actually, no, last night I did breakfast for dinner. So I did my oatmeal pancakes, some beyond meat breakfast sausage, roasted potatoes, and just eggs.
Wow.
However, a typical dinner would be like a roasted chickpeas, roasted vegetables, and quinoa with some
Okay.
avocado on the side. So make like a Buddha bowl.
Okay. Sounds good. So you don't eat too much salads and
So I do eat salads depending on what's going on. I throw a lot of my greens in my smoothies just because it makes it easier. Because chewing salads take a lot of time.
yes.
End of story. Like outside of that, I end up juicing or putting a lot of my greens in my smoothies just because it makes it easier for me to get done with. Because my salads, when I make salads, they're big and they take quite a while to eat because you have to chew and masticate all of those greens pretty good.
My husband the same way. He prefer the smoothies, so that's what
Yeah,
he to.
yeah, absolutely. And as long as you're getting your greens in, that's what matters. It don't really matter whether you're chewing it or you throw it in the blender. As long as you're getting it, you're getting the chlorophyll and all of those other micronutrients that are in there for you.
Yes. So I saw you doing. You and your friend, sister, was making juices. So do you sell juices
Yeah,
as well?
so that is one of the things that I do here locally is well, it's something that I'm incorporating more into the things that I'm teaching other people. I'm actually working on a juicing one-on-one course now.
Okay.
So stay tuned for that, good people. However, yes, so I do sell juices locally. So I prepare juices and I sell them at either events. I go to local businesses, and then I also sell them for pre-order, so people can pre-order either individual juices or they can do 3 or 7 day juice cleanses with me as well. I'm
Wow.
still working on shipping, so if you're not here in the local South Florida area, give me a few weeks and I should have the whole shipping part down as well.
I thought you was in Florida. I'm like, wait, because I'm in Miami too. Uh,
Okay, yeah, yeah, I'm in Fort Lauderdale.
oh, okay. And we've been to Missouri. It was one cold night. We went to go look for land just beside a little bar. And it was so cold because here is not cold.
Yeah,
So
y'all don't get cold really here. Like
yeah,
the little 50 degrees that it gets down here ain't cold.
yeah, it's
It's cold
freezing.
to me because I don't like cold. However, that ain't real cold weather.
Yeah, but we went to the Ozark. We was
Okay,
in the
yeah, 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 yeah,
Ozark.
yeah, yeah. No,
It
yeah. So
was
yeah, and then you wasn't even
freezing.
in the city on top of that, so it was extra cold.
Yeah, that was crazy. So we spun a night. We didn't even really get to see anything because it was too cold for us. So we left. So wow. So now you down here, it been raining, but this is the
Yeah, but
rain.
I've been down here 15 years, so this rain ain't nothing.
Oh, okay. Cool, cool. Whew. This going by too fast. Oh my gosh. So why do you love what you do? Like, what makes you like, oh wow, I'm just so excited doing what this makes me excited. What is it that makes you excited to do what you doing?
Because I wish I had a me 20 years ago.
Hmm.
That's why. I know that I am helping give people more time with the people that love them. That's what gets me excited. Every time I get a testimonial or somebody just writes back, and especially when I do polls and I ask people how have I helped, just some of the smallest simple things, and I know that those small simple things are what's going to be the catalyst that helps them create the generational health that they need in their family.
Hmm. Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you. So, what would your legacy you would like to? This is going by too fast. But what is your legacy that you would like to leave behind?
Wow, what would my legacy that I would like to leave behind? So the legacy that I would like to leave, I would like to be known as the person that made living healthy simple, that
Mhm,
enough that everybody could do it.
mhm. Wow. I'm looking for more because you have you have
Again,
so much information in you. Like, yeah, we could do this a couple times. I mean, I'm
yeah,
just
thanks. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm open for it. So I see as I was going through your page, I see a lot of the people that you interviewed, like Nicole and all that. Nicole has interviewed me no less than 4 times.
okay. Yeah, that's my girl. She is good.
So yeah, so no, so sharing this information and sharing this knowledge is what I do, is like is what I want. This is my passion. It's what I'm driven to do because I know that people, it's repetition that's going to make people hear it, and it's not as if I'm forcing it down people's throat. I'm just giving you information that makes sense, and
Yes.
when it makes sense, you're more likely to take action. And when you take action, you're going to see the results, and you're going to say, oh yes, it really makes sense now, and you'll continue the action. Because there are a lot of people that make this more difficult than it has to be, and
Mm-hmm.
they make it confusing. And when people are confused, they don't take action.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was gonna ask you about because this might be one of those things. How do you feel about organic? Do you think organic, the food being organic, is important?
So yes, so I have a spectrum for that. If you can afford to eat everything organic, do it. If you cannot, don't worry about it, because there are levels to how food is grown, and this is where a lot of people get confused. So there is organic, and I'll name all of them, then I'll go back and describe each one individually so that everyone understands.
Okay.
There's organic, there's conventional grown, there's there's hybrid, and then there's GMO.
Mhm.
I'll start here with GMO because and that's why I added hybrid in there, because a lot of people get the two confused.
Mhm.
GMO is man-made food. GMO, genetically modified organism, and they've changed the name again to confuse you. I don't can't remember exactly what it is now. But this is where scientists have gone into the DNA structure of the plant
Mhm.
to change things. That's a very important part. Scientist, DNA inside, okay? Now, this is the part where a lot of people get confused and they demonize this fruit. Hybridized fruit is not man made.
Mhm.
GMO, man made. Hybridized fruit is man directed. What do I mean by man directed? Hybridization happens in nature naturally. All of the food that we have in our food chain and supply is hybridized in some way. Hybridization means that you take two plants that have similar characteristics and you allow them to cross pollinate, or
Mhm.
you graft one tree to another tree to produce a different fruit.
Mhm.
Hence, man directed, but still nature made. Hybridized fruits are no less nutritious than their originals, because if you think about it, if you were to take two humans from different parts of the world, different cultures, and they create a baby, that baby is now hybridized by that term. It's no
Mhm.
less of a human, still has two eyes, four legs, I mean, four limbs, all that good stuff, right?
Mhm.
It's the same thing with fruits, vegetables, grains, because hybridization allows. humans to get food that withstands the things that change in nature. I'll use lentils as an example. There was a string of lentils that had to be hybridized in Africa because there was a drought that came, and then there was a huge rain, and it created this mold, and it was killing all the lentils. Well, they had to hybridize two different lentils to be resistant to this mold. Otherwise, everybody in that region would have starved.
Wow.
Hybridization, GMO. Now, let's move down the chain a little bit further. Next, you have conventional. Conventionally grown fruit means that it is grown like you think when you think of a farm, whether it be a small mom and pop farm, big factory farm. Foods are grown normally. Now, conventional grown, these foods are sprayed with chemical fertilizers, they're sprayed with insecticides, and all of these things. Now, this is important to know because these foods do carry a higher toxic load, meaning you need to wash these fruits very thoroughly to get any insecticides, pesticides off the outside. And if you're eating the skin, you want to peel it. So most conventionally grown fruits do carry a higher toxic load. That's why most people say eat organic. Organic is grown in a conventional manner. However, it is less the chemical pesticides and chemical fertilizers. Now, the reason why I don't tell people to only eat organic is because because of the food chain that we live with, because of big industry in this country, it's hard to really say what's what because people are able to buy labels, buy tags, and all of this stuff, and it's not necessarily always the way to go. The best way to are to buy as much locally grown fruits and vegetables as possible.
Mhm.
That's how you mitigate worrying about those. And then when it comes to eating organic, focus on the dirty dozen. And they change over time. So I tell you to Google it. Google dirty dozen fruits and vegetables, and it will tell you the 12 dirtiest, meaning highest sprayed in pesticides and fertilizer fruits and vegetables. And they're typically the ones that where you eat the skin. So strawberries, apples, grapes, things of that sort.
Mhm.
Potatoes, things that are grown underground because now they have longer time in contact with the the chemicals.
Mhm. Wow. Thank you.
So that's my answer, my long answer to organic. So eat as much organic as you can. If you are having any type of cancers, autoimmune issues, eat everything organic.
Mhm.
And I say that because if you're having cancer or autoimmune issues, you need to reduce the toxic load and the amount of neurotoxins that you bring into your body. And and when I say reduce your toxic load, I mean now we're getting into even the stuff that you put on your body, the stuff that you wash your clothes with. Everything in my house is plant based. It's made out of something that was derived from plants. There
Mhm.
are no chemical. I can't say no. There are very little chemical compounds in this house
Mhm.
because our skin is our biggest organ, and
Mhm.
so when you put these chemical compounds on your skin, you're still absorbing them.
And the plants that you have also help to, you know, lessen the toxins that's in the air, the live
Yeah,
plants.
absolutely. Having live plants in the house is definitely a way to help reduce the toxins within your house.
Okay. Wow. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Um, so, do you have any last remark? I don't like this part, but do you have any last remarks?
Yeah, absolutely. So, for everyone, for you that's listening, you can make healthy simple by focusing on the five pillars. And it's very, very, very simple. Number one, eat nutrient rich foods. Eat whole food, plant based. Eat nutrient rich foods. Number two, stay properly hydrated. The way you stay properly hydrated is again eating nutrient rich foods, eating fresh fruits and vegetables so that you are getting most of your water or your liquid content from a fresh source, not just drinking water. Number three, get ample amount of sleep, 6 to 8 hours every single day. Number four, move your body every single day. It doesn't have to be a strenuous workout, but you need to get up and move. dancing, running, jogging, skipping, whatever, as long as you're moving. And number five, have a healthy way to manage your stress. You focus on these five things every single day. You do something in each of these areas every single day, and you will not help. You cannot help but have good health.
Yes. So meditation is very important in this.
Meditation, breath work, journaling, whatever way you find to manage your stress in a healthy way is what's going to work. Something that you can do every day. So if meditation isn't your thing, I'm not going to force it. But breathing, sit and breathe. Go stand outside and look up at the sky and breathe for 5 minutes.
Mhm.
Write
Making it.
down what you're grateful for.
Hmm.
You have to have a healthy way to manage your stress because otherwise, stress leads to more cortisol. Cortisol leads to a whole slew of other problems.
Hmm. Now I done went to uh, the last remarks, and I have a whole lot of questions coming to me.
No worries.
Can I just ask you? Did you see any health benefits? And I apologize, I'm backtracking with this. Did you see any health benefits with when you went plant based?
Absolutely. So even though I was vegetarian, like I said, I still suffer from irritable bowel syndrome, restless sleep. I had some skin issues occasionally. So yes, and then so when I went plant based, my skin issues cleared up, my sleep cleared up, irritable bowel syndrome cleared up some. It wasn't until I gave up gluten that I was able to get rid of everything. So yeah, energy levels through the roof. Like I'll be 42 in October, and I am able to keep up with my 8 and 6 year old like they are like it's nothing. I'm full time entrepreneur, so yeah, a lot of the benefits: sleeping better, better clarity of mind, more energy. Just it's like I may get a cold once or twice a year. And when I
Mhm,
say a cold, I'm talking about a head cold. I haven't had a flu. I went through all of the whole pandemic and never had a sniffle.
mhm.
So yeah,
All right.
that that's it for me.
Wow. Okay. Thank you again, Coach Robert.
Absolutely, I
Uh,
appreciate you having me.
we we can get you back on again.
Absolutely, just
Okay.
reach out and let me know. Let's see what works.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, you guys, this is what I tell my people. Thank you guys for watching. And there's so many camera things going on. Be looking on. Thank you guys for watching. A thousand roses to you. Love yourself first because why? You're worth it. And you guys, please go check out Coach Robert. He is amazing. Young man full of wisdom. Oh my God, this man is real. All right. Y'all take care. Peace.
Peace, peace.